welcome back to my channel. Today I have for you a tutorial, swatches, and a mini review of the Huda Beauty Textured Shadows palette, the Rose Gold Edition. So this palette costs $65 and you get 6 metal eyeshadows, 2 chromatic pressed pearl eyeshadows, and 10 mattes. The first row you get the shades Dubai, Fling, 24K, Rose Gold, Trust Fund, and Angelic. In the next row you have the shades Blessed, Bossy, Flamingo, Shy, Bay, and Moondust. And in the last row you have all mattes and you get the shades Black Truffle, Suede, Cocoa, Maneater, Henna, and Sandalwood. Here are swatches of the first row. So the first 5 are the 3D metal eyeshadows, and then the last shade, Angelic, is the chromatic pressed pearl eyeshadow. So all of these shades are super pigmented. The 3D eyeshadows though do have a lot of fallout, so I'd recommend using a glitter glue just to get them to kind of stay in place. So here are swatches of the second row. The first is a 3D metal eyeshadow, and then the last is one of the chromatic eyeshadows. The middle 4 are all mattes. So when I swatched the matte eyeshadows, I did have to do 2 layers just because they're a drier formula and they're not that pigmented. They're definitely not like Loreal or Anastasia eyeshadows. They don't have that buttery feeling to them. So here are swatches of the last row. These are all matte eyeshadows. Once again, I had to do 2 layers of the swatches. So as you can see, they're still kind of patchy and not that pigmented. So I would say that the formula between the mattes is really not consistent. Some are okay and some are just not pigmented at all, like the shades Black Truffle and then the red shade, which I think is called Maneater. So to be completely honest, I was kind of disappointed just because this palette cost $65 and then the mattes weren't very pigmented and kind of dry. But I do really like all of the 3D metal eyeshadows. Those are pretty awesome and they do have great pigmentation. So moving on to the tutorial, I first started out with the shade Shy and I used this on a fluffy blending brush as my transition shade. Next I went in with the shade Flamingo on a Sephora Pro Crease brush and I just put this directly into my crease. This was one of the matte shades that I had a really hard time blending out. It just took a lot of work to get it to look nice and blended and not have any harsh lines. Now I'm going in with the shade Bossy, which is a kind of maroon color, on my Sigma E25 brush, and I first put that on my outer corner and then I started to blend it up into my crease. Next I went in with the shade Cocoa, which is just a dark brown, and I used it to deepen up my outer corner. Then I used the shade Bay to highlight under my brow bone. So for the lid color, I used the shade Rose Gold and I just patted that on with my finger. I would recommend using a glitter glue because I had a lot of fallout with this shade. Now I'm going back in with the shade Shy and I'm using it to blend everything out. I also went back in with the shade Cocoa just to deepen up my outer corner again. So I went ahead and applied false lashes off camera, and now I'm taking Shy on a pencil brush and I'm blending that right under my lower lash line. Next I'm going to take the shade Bossy on a flat definer brush and I'm just going to press that right up against my lower lash line. So to finish off this look, I'm going to go ahead and apply my L'Oreal Telescopic Mascara to my bottom lashes. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching.